So today we're going to be solving literal equations. And here are three literal equations. Ax plus b equals c, ax plus by equals c, which is the standard form for a linear equation, and ax squared plus by equals c, which is the standard form for a quadratic equation. These are called literal equations because the coefficients and the constants have been replaced with letters. Remember, the coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So your a's and your b's in the second two equations are coefficients. The a is attached to the x and the b is attached to the y in the linear and the quadratic equations. The constant is a number with no variable attached to it. So c is a constant in all three equations, and b is also a constant in the first equation. So what I need you to do is to solve this equation, ax plus b equals c, for x. So remember, your goal is to isolate the x. So the a is being multiplied by the x, plus b equals c. So the first thing we're going to undo is the positive b. We undo the positive b with a negative b from both sides, and we end up with ax is equivalent to c minus b. Now I want to solve for x. Remember, the x is what we're trying to isolate. So the x is being multiplied by the a, so we're going to divide both sides by the a. The a's will cancel out to 1, and we have x is equivalent to c minus b over a. Now sometimes this is really helpful when we go to solve a problem. Not necessarily for a problem this simple, but if we're going to use the solution for x, in other words, x is c minus b over a, to solve the problem 6x plus 3 equals 15, then the first step is to identify what your a, b, and c are. A is the 6, b is the 3, c is the 15. Then you simply plug in your pieces. X is equivalent to the c minus b over a. So x is equivalent to 15 minus 3 all over 6. 15 minus 3 is 12 over 6, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. So let's try another one. Solve a times the quantity x plus b equals c for x. So now you're trying to isolate the x again. If we try to isolate the x, the first thing we need to move is the a. So we're going to divide both sides by a. So x plus b is equivalent to c divided by a. Well, if I have x plus b is equal to c divided by a, how do I undo the plus b to get the x all by itself? I undo a positive b with a negative b, subtracting b from both sides. X is equivalent to c divided by a minus b. So now you may see it written like this. It says rewrite 3x plus 2y equals 8 so that y is a function of x. That means the y depends on the x. So y is a function of really simply means you're going to solve this equation for y. In order to solve for y, we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. So 2y is equal to 8 minus 3x. And again, to isolate the y by itself, the y is being multiplied by 2. So we're going to divide both sides by 2, and we have our final answer. Y is equivalent to 8 minus 3x divided by 2. We have written y as a function of x. The y value depends on what the x value is. So the y is the dependent variable, or the output. The x is the independent variable, the input. So we can use literal equations to solve geometric formulas. A geometry formula is simply a literal equation. So for instance, solve the formula for area of a triangle for the base. So we start by listing out what the area of a triangle is. And the area is a literal equation. A is equal to B times H all divided by 2. So if we're trying to solve for the base, meaning we're trying to isolate the b all by itself, the first thing we're going to do is multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of the fraction. That gives us 2a is equal to b times h. Remember, you're trying to solve for b. So we would divide both sides by h, and we get 2a divided by h is equivalent to b. And now I want you to use that formula you've just created to answer this question about our triangle. It says if the area of the triangle is 84 centimeters squared and the height is 21 centimeters, use the literal equation to find the length of the base. So now, looking back at our 2a over h equals b, they've given us a, and they've given us b, and now what we need to do is to find h. So we're going to do 2 times 84 divided by 21. I said earlier find h. We're actually trying to find b, the length of the base. So the area is 84, the height is 21, and when we solve this, 21 will divide into 84 4 times, and 2 times 4 is 8. So our final answer is our base length is 8. To solve a perimeter problem, this is a perimeter of a rectangle. Perimeter is equivalent to twice the length plus twice the width. And if I wanted you to isolate that and solve for w, you would subtract the 2l from both sides. So you have p minus 2l is equal to 2w, but I don't want to know what twice the widths are. I want to know what one width is. So I'm going to undo that 2 by dividing. If I divide the left side, I've got to divide the right side. And so we have p minus 2l all divided by 2 is equivalent to w. If the length is 9 meters and the perimeter is 38 meters, use the literal equation to find the width. Well, the perimeter is 38, so you start off with 38 minus 2 times 9 is equivalent to the width over 2. So 2 times 9 is 18. 38 minus 18 is 20. Then we have 20 divided by 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. The total surface area of a cube is given by SA is equivalent to 6S squared. And we want you to solve for S. Well, the first thing is to divide both sides by 6. So the surface area divided by 6 is equal to 6S squared. But now we have to go ahead and remove that positive 6. In order to isolate the s, we need to take the square root of both sides. So s is equivalent to the surface area, the square root of the surface area over 6. If the surface area is 96 centimeters, find the length of the side. And remember, it's a square, so you find the length of one side, you have the length of all 4 sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our formula. S is equal to the square root of 96 divided by 6. And we're going to go ahead and put in our formula, our numbers. We have 96 divided by 6. And then when you take the square root of 96 over 6, you get s is equal to the square root of 16, and the square root of 16 is 4.